Hi, it's Annette. Welcome to Parents of Prodigals. And the holidays are upon us, which if you're the parent of a prodigal or prodigals, I know one family that has 3 prodigal adult children right now. The holidays are extremely difficult. So in my first video, I promised we were going to get to some serious topics, and we will. But it's really super duper important that we make it through the holidays. And that's what we're going to focus on in the next few videos probably. So Thanksgiving is just around the corner. So what do? In my family, the prodigals have caused many fractures between me and other people, as well as they have recruited others. They have intentionally triangulated some relationships. And so while I come from a very dysfunctional family that had problems around the holidays anyway, they definitely compounded it and have caused serious problems. So what do you do if that's the case? The first few years is really difficult because everything that was normal to you is no longer the norm. So you have to adjust to a new norm. And I remember I had foot surgery several years ago, and I was using a scooter, one of the knee scooters. It was several weeks, like 6 weeks, I think. I had to use a knee scooter. And at first it was just the absolute worst thing, even though it's much easier than crutches. But I had to kind of establish a new norm. And that's what this is like, only you don't have a broken foot, you have a broken heart. And so you have to think about what that new norm is going to look like for you. You know, a lot of times we hide all this pain and suffering we're going through from our church family, from our good friends, because it's kind of embarrassing. Just be honest with you, it's embarrassing. You look at other people and other families celebrating, and it's depressing. You tend to not want to do anything really, especially if there are grandchildren involved that you're not going to see this year. It's very heartbreaking, and what is being done to you as a parent is really unconscionable. So what do? How do you navigate the holidays? Well, I think you have to go back to thinking about some of the things that you can enjoy without your children. And that's hard because we never thought we'd have to imagine our life and our lives without our children. The holidays are very special. And so we never thought we'd have to adjust to a new norm. We pictured things a certain way, and that picture is just not realistic anymore. So it's no longer realistic for us to hope that certain things are going to happen this year when they're not going to happen this year. So what do? Well, you have to, like I said, you have to establish a new norm. You have to think about the things, I talked in my last video about the bucket list. Maybe you've come up with something already that you're like, I can make this happen easy. Well, you need to make that happen ASAP then, and around the holidays if possible. So myself and many of the other parents that I know, parents of prodigals, actually travel around the holidays if possible. So let's say you're going to go visit with friends that weekend, or extended family the weekend of Thanksgiving. Make Thanksgiving Day your travel day. Get some snacks, do your road trip on Thanksgiving Day, watch some Christmas movies while you're driving, but you can have them on in the car, and you can make that Thanksgiving Day your travel day. You can also just decide, you know what, I'm going to make that the day I decorate for Christmas, even though Christmas is another stumbling block that we're going to have to deal with. If decorating for Christmas makes you happy, something you've always done. There are traditions that you had when you were a child, not traditions that you had with your children. Skip those. Do the things you did when you were a child that you remember, that you have fond memories of. Do that. I used to traditionally decorate for Christmas the day after Christmas. We would watch, we'd get all our the day after Thanksgiving, I'm sorry. We'd get all of our Christmas decorations out. I would always make a roast, and we would watch It's a Wonderful Life that evening. That was the tradition with my children. So I don't do that anymore. I still might make a roast or something special that weekend, but I'm doing some other things that weekend. I'm not doing the traditions that I did with my children. So you want to put those aside, whatever you did Thanksgiving, whatever was your norm, and you want to come up with a new norm. It's not probably going to be something you prefer, but you have to find something else to do. Sitting at home, especially alone, sitting at home by yourself, thinking about what could have been, looking online to see what your kids may be doing, whatever. I don't recommend that. In fact, I recommend staying offline on the holidays, because people are going to post what they're doing. They're going to post pictures of their family gathering and stuff. And why you want that for your friends, and you're just glad that they have that, and you wouldn't wish what has happened to you on anyone else. It's not going to help you to see those images online. If it's something that you are missing from your life at the time, it's gonna kind of hurt you. So I don't recommend doing that. Like I said, if you can, try to travel. It's a horrible time to travel. It really is. But nobody's really traveling Thanksgiving Day. No one's doing that Thanksgiving Day. There are times, we're military, so we would be stationed in different places where there were other families that were not around families. They didn't have the time off. So we were invited to the homes of other families. We've spent time with the people from our church, people who've invited us from church, and things like that. So it's not what we had preferred, and it wasn't the normal that we grew up with, but I'm sorry, my dog Buffy is at the door, but it is the new normal that we have to focus on. The thing is that a lot of, when we were stationed in California, nowhere near family, Thanksgiving was a day that the national parks, there just weren't a lot of people at those places. And a lot of the national parks, the beach, things like that, that's not what people were doing on Thanksgiving days traditionally. So if we didn't go anywhere, like, or have a specific invitation or host something in our house, we would go and do something like that just to get out of the house. Now, I might still put up Christmas decorations the day after Christmas, because it's something I enjoy, but I allow myself, I don't do the exact same thing. I allow myself to go to the memories of my childhood with my mother before she passed away. Those were very, very happy times, and my life hasn't been the same since she passed away. So I try to go to those happier times and focus on those things, and I do find little bits of joy in that. I have hosted people, friends from church, things like that on Thanksgiving. It was a pretty big holiday after my children, when I had children, not when I was little, because my mom was from Mexico. I don't remember really having much of a Thanksgiving when I was growing up, because it just wasn't something she celebrated, and my dad hated turkey, so it just wasn't a big deal at our house. It was all about getting ready for Christmas. Now, as a parent of prodigals, that, like I said, is going to pose its own challenges. So I want you to think about, to focus on things you did, good memories of your childhood that surround Thanksgiving. I'm talking about your children. I want you to get out of your house if you can. Go travel, go take a walk, go on a long hike. Do anything except dwell on hoping, that hope deferred thing that I talked about in my first video, and romanticizing about it should be this way, and having yourself in that perpetual state of mourning and loss. The holidays are extremely difficult for anyone experiencing any kind of loss, whether it's the death of a loved one, especially the first and second year. It's really terrible. The death of a loved one or estrangement, job loss. The holidays are really difficult, and we put a lot of expectations on ourselves and on others around the holidays. I don't know why we do that. I'm not sure, but we put expectations on ourselves and others. Now, I will tell you, and it's just like with grief, the first year, people may be pretty attentive to your situation. And they realize it's your first year without your children. It's your first year without your grandchildren. So that may be a reality. Now, your second year, a lot of people have forgotten it's only 12 months later, and it's your second year without your children. It's your second year without your grandchildren. So people tend to think you've made maybe more of an adjustment than you have, and that's not true. Are we ever going to get over the loss of our children to estrangement? No, we're never going to get over that. It's just the reality. I think it helps to join groups for parents of estrangement. I think that what we're seeing in today's society, everybody asks, why is there this epidemic of estrangement? And, the Bible talks about that. In the last days, that this is going to happen. Matthew 10:21. Let me find the scripture for you. But the Bible talks about these things happening, and the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. So this is something that the Lord, it's epidemic, and something that this is not news to the Lord. This isn't a new thing to the Lord. So what can we do? Again, we need to turn to Him and put our hope in Him always. We need to pray and put our hope in the eternal, but we need to do some practical things, and that is getting out of your house, unless you're having people over. Have people over, have other estranged people, estranged parents over, have people from your church, go serve a meal at a mission. There are several missions where we live that serve meals on Thanksgiving. I know Samaritan's Purse, which is the Billy Graham ministry, where they fill shoe boxes to send to needy kids throughout the world. They have distribution centers that you can actually go to and work over Thanksgiving weekend, volunteering and filling up those boxes for distribution. And so find something that you can do outside of the scope of what you perceive as normal or traditional that makes you feel good. Again, I'm not saying be selfish. I'm saying find joy, and that's totally okay. And don't feel guilty if you laugh, if you enjoy something, if it's better than what you thought it was going to be, or if God provides you an opportunity to do something to bring you joy that day. Don't feel bad about that. You need to do that because if you can get down kind of how to do this over Thanksgiving, then from Thanksgiving through the new year, you're going to have learned the skill of finding joy, starting new traditions, going back to traditions that were pre-children with your parents and things like that. So Thanksgiving is really good practice for the holidays coming up. So I want to encourage you right now, it's only a couple weeks away. It's not even 2 weeks, is it? Not quite 2 weeks. You have some time to do some planning. Look up some trails you can hike on, whatever it is you are thinking might bring you some joy. I want you to do that. I want you to start planning now. So you've got a couple weeks to do that. You have about 6 weeks to do your bucket list. And like I said, you might have something on your bucket list already that you can do on Thanksgiving Day. And so my hope for you is that you find something, and we just need to pray for each other, pray for parents in these situations. All right. Thank you. It's still not working, by the way. It turns on, but it won't turn off. So I'm going to have to come up here and